What does an excluded driver mean on your car insurance policy? Car insurance policies will typically list a list of drivers on your policy, on your declarations page. This is the list of drivers of people who are authorized to drive the vehicles listed on your insurance policy. For the most part, in most states and most insurance companies, anybody who is licensed and living in your house, or anybody who drives your vehicle on a regular basis, most insurance companies define regular basis of at least once a month, but those two types of people usually need to be listed on your insurance policy as a covered driver. Of course, with most car insurance policies, if somebody is not listed as a driver on your policy, but you give them permission to drive the vehicle, they, in most cases, will be covered, and they would be covered under the permissive use clause in the insurance policy. As I said, this is a case in most scenarios. However, like all my videos, don't take that for certain. Go and check with your insurance policy or ask your insurance agent if you don't want to read through your insurance policy. Excluded drivers are also listed on your insurance policy. This doesn't happen very often, but they can be listed on your policy. Excluded drivers are also listed on your insurance policy or declarations page. However, excluded drivers, just like it sounds, are drivers that cannot, under any circumstance, drive the vehicles on your policy. So it's the opposite of the covered drivers listed. We have covered drivers over here that can drive. We have excluded drivers over here that cannot drive the vehicles on your policy. Again, this means they cannot drive your car. We have clients often that say, yeah, he was an excluded driver, but I just needed him to back my car out quickly. Or I just needed him to run down the store to get some groceries real quick for me. If you're an excluded driver, no. Under no circumstance are they covered. It doesn't matter how quickly they were driving, how short of a drive it was, if they were only going half a mile down the road. If you are listed as an excluded driver, there is no coverage should anything happen. One important point, if there is a licensed driver in your home, you either need to, one, list them as a covered driver, which yes, will increase the premium, or two, list them as an excluded driver and not allow them to drive the vehicles listed on your policy. So those are the two options for licensed drivers in your house. List them or exclude them. Now, many of you may be saying, why in the world would I exclude someone? I've never excluded someone. I've never seen a list of excluded drivers on my insurance policy. And yes, that's the case for the most part. Most people do not have excluded drivers on their policy. So let's talk about why, in which cases you would want to exclude someone on your insurance policy. Let's say you live in a house and you have roommates. These roommates are licensed, and like we talked about, if you have someone living in your house that's licensed, you either have to add them as a driver or exclude them. But you don't want your roommate driving your vehicle. Under no circumstance would they ever drive your vehicle, so there's no reason to list them as a driver and be charged more on your insurance policy. This is a perfect case as to why you would want to exclude your roommate on your policy so that you don't have to pay an extra premium for them. Another scenario would be if you're a parent and you have a teenage driver, and that teenage driver has gotten 3 speeding tickets and 2 accidents, and you've decided, I don't want you driving my cars anymore, and I don't want you to continue to drive up the cost of my insurance because of all the crappy driving that you're doing. In that case, you could exclude your teenage driver on your policy. And many times, an insurance company will come to you and say, hey, you have this driver on your policy, their insurance record is horrible. You have 2 options. We can, 1, cancel your policy, or 2, you can exclude that driver, and then we will continue to let you have that policy with us. One more reason that we see often is if you have a parent or an older senior driver that has reached the age where they can no longer drive, or you simply don't trust them to be able to drive, but they still have their license. In that case, you could take away the keys, not allow them to drive, and then exclude them on the policy. And now it's important to point out that simply removing someone as a driver from your policy and excluding someone from driving on your policy are 2 different things. Let me explain. Let's say that you have a young person living in your home, your child, and now they're 21 and they have moved to a different state, they have their own house, and they have their own car insurance. At that point, because your son has moved out and they live in a different state and have their own car insurance, you can simply remove your son from your policy. You do not have to exclude them. And then when your son comes back to visit every so often for the holidays, he's not excluded. He can drive under that permissive use clause on your insurance policy. So to reiterate, you only exclude someone if they are living in your house and they are licensed and you do not want them driving any of the vehicles on your insurance policy. If you're not sure if you should exclude someone or simply remove someone from your policy, call your insurance company, tell them the story, and let them tell you how to best go about either removing or excluding or whatever else they suggest. Remember, each state and each policy is different. But for the most part, when you need to exclude someone, it's as simple as calling your insurance company, saying, hey, I need to exclude this person. I no longer want them driving my vehicles. I understand they can never drive until they are not excluded anymore. And then you can simply sign a form, send it in, and boom, they're excluded and you're no longer being charged for that person being listed as a driver on your insurance policy. So that's what it means to exclude someone on your auto insurance policy. If you have any questions or want me to follow up with any other details in another video, list them in the comments below. I'm happy to help. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.